You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're about to get started with our Friday review. Can't wait to go over all of the topics we have to cover today. We're going to go over our summer community detox challenge that has been taking place this week, a brand new first ever event for functional medicine and at-home lab testing. I'll be going over my tick bite protocol, the same one that I unfortunately had to use just about 6 weeks ago. I'll be going over a product review, let's say it's a transformed way of opening up your back, stretching open your back. It feels absolutely fantastic. I'll be going over that product today. A little bit of research that I love to bring you that's completely cutting edge and really pushes the envelope of really what we know about metabolism and exercise. And then I'll be going over a lab results of the week. So we try to do that each and every Friday review. So we've got a lot to cover. I want to dive right into it. But if you're new to the show, every Friday I just bring you what's been going on in the private practice. The private practice, of course, works with people all over the world, whether it be an at-home lab through equilibriumnutrition.com, protocols, the private practice in Boston, etc. So I also want to do is always bring you some research each week, products that I'm loving using, etc. So let's dive in. Let's get into the show. And the first thing I want to go over is today is day 5 of our summer community detox challenge. Each and every season, every 12 weeks, just like they did in every form of Eastern-based medicine, we do a detox. Now, of course, it's a little bit different in 2019, and that's because we know the specific nutrients that are needed, not a tea and not just water fasting, not any of those things. We know the specific nutrients that are needed by the liver in order to better detoxify the body. Meaning without those, it's not that your body doesn't detoxify, but it doesn't do its job to its fullest. So that means you will not get all of the detox-based benefit if you're not giving your body all of those phase 1 and phase 2 nutrients. I'm trying to think of the show off the top of my head that I did that I believe, let's see if it was stephencabral.com/846. I'm going to see if that was the show, if I can remember it off the top of my head. But that's how to do a functional medicine detox, because I can't go through that with today's show. Well, 846 was actually your total toxic load. So it's a good first place to get started as well. And then how to complete a functional medicine detox was episode 823. So you can check those out. But the reason I bring this up is that I needed this summer detox as much as, anyone in our community. I've done now over 24 functional medicine detoxes. And I'll tell you right now that sometimes your body just needs that whole body reset. So for me, I wanted to cut out a lot of the food-based cravings. I wanted to be able to get deeper into autophagy, which is helping to rid my body of cancer cells, of necrotic tissue, bacteria, etc., better balance hormones and blood sugar, drop a couple pounds, and just overall feel lighter, feel more clear-headed. So that's why I choose to do it every 12 weeks or so, and people have all of their own different reasons. You can do a 7, 14, or 21-day detox. My preference for people just getting started is definitely the 21-day, and then you can maintain with that 7-day every 12 weeks. So if you're not familiar with it, you can check out the podcast. It just tells you how to do a functional medicine detox at episode 823, and you can find out your total toxic load and that quiz at episode 846 of the Cabral Concept. All podcasts are available at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And all links today will be over at stephencabral.com/1239. I StephenCabral.com/1239. So why don't I do this? I'm just going to link up the detox link for you right there. That'll be at StephenCabral.com/1239. And then you only have to remember one episode number. All right. So check out CabralSupportGroup.com though. And that is where everything is going on, especially for the next couple days as we finish our 7-day, because we're on day 5 right now of the detox. And by day 5, we're all feeling pretty great, right? So we're moving through it, feeling better and better. You can check out a daily post by myself and my team right at CabralSupportGroup.com. Free Facebook group. You're welcome to join. We just look for positive people who are either looking to heal themselves, cheer others on, support others, ask their questions, give answers, all that good stuff. So it's amazing health community from people all around the world. All right, second topic of the day is this: breaking new ground in functional medicine. This is a first in the field. So we are super proud, my entire team, of all the work that we're trying to do. It gets us up in the morning. It keeps us invigorated about our mission and what we're trying to do. And originally, we could only ship labs within the U.S. And then we could ship to the U.K. and Canada, and this was like 2018. And then late 2018, around November, we actually opened up to 19 countries to be able to ship labs. And that's pretty exciting for us. So now, in 19 countries around the world, we can ship at-home functional medicine labs. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can find out the underlying root cause of your wellness-based issues, your weight loss or weight gain-based issues, as well as aging-based issues. So it's pretty phenomenal. I'm not going to go through those today. You can always take a peek at equilibriumnutrition.com. Just click on the labs tab and you'll be able to see that. So here's the thing though. When you look at home labs, they're not necessarily inexpensive. I believe they're inexpensive in the grand scheme of things because of the amount of money you're going to have to pay in trial and error to figure out what is wrong with you. You try this protocol, you try that protocol, you go to this doctor, you go to that practitioner. Well, with an at-home functional medicine lab test, you can actually look inside of your body, look at your vitamin levels, look at your mineral levels, look at your gut function, look at your omega-3s, look at your toxic metals, and you can find out what the issue is. Like, what is actually the issue causing you to feel the way you feel, or to gain the weight, not be able to lose it, or for your aging-based issues. So that's the amazing thing about it. So it doesn't diagnose disease. What it does is it looks at underlying root cause issues, imbalances within the body, like imbalances in minerals, imbalances in vitamins and gut function, etc. So they're pretty amazing, but that comes at a cost because health insurance is not going to pay for anything that is not diagnostically disease-based. That's the problem with health insurance, right? It's only based on sick care. It's not based on health care. So what we did is this. We said, okay, we know that there's a cost to functional medicine labs. Nothing we can do about that because they're not our labs. They're other people's labs, right? So we are using other amazing labs and we're bringing them to you because a doctor has to sign off on them. And then we're shipping them to 19 countries around the world. That's what we do. All the results come to us or your integrative health practitioner if you're working with a level 2 practitioner. And then they give you the protocol based on the underlying root causes, right? We're not treating disease. We're not diagnosing disease. We're not curing disease. We're rebalancing the imbalances which lead to the dis-ease in the body in the first place. So what we've done is another first. And again, I say that because this is what wakes me up every single day in the morning, excited to get to work. We are now offering for the very first time a payment plan. That means you can actually split the payment for the lab or labs over 3 payments. And that enables you over a period of 3 months, so day 0, let's say on a credit card if you're paying for it, day 32, and then day 64 to make those 3 payments. And that takes a lab, let's say like the hair tissue mineral analysis, $297. And it takes it down to $99 a month, or $99 times 3 payments. So I think that's pretty fantastic in my opinion because you still get everything with that. We don't take anything away. So you still get me reviewing your lab and working with my health coaching team to give you the proper protocol that's been personalized for you. You get on the phone with one of my certified health coaches and we take you through what the labs mean, not just the numbers, but actually inside of the numbers and how they relate to you and your symptoms. And then you get a protocol to take. So it's I think, groundbreaking in my opinion, and I'm just excited for it. So you can check that out over at equilibriumnutrition.com. With this payment plan, we do have an overall set number of labs that we can kind of put on this each month. But of course, you can just simply go to equilibriumnutrition.com, click on the labs tab, and then you can look at the financing, breaking those payments into 3 for those labs. So you can even do that for the big 5 labs. I mean, I just think that this is something that I believe is the future of health care, and I'm simply excited to be a part of it. So thank you so much for your support and for your patience, because I know that you've wanted this payment plan for a while. We were able to do it. Keep in mind, we had to do this internally. No other payment processor would do this for us. They wouldn't take on the liability because, again, there's a risk that we're taking on when we split the lab up into 3 payments, because the lab costs way more than the first payment, right? So we're doing this, we're taking on the risk, but we simply believe in our community and we want to help as many people as possible. All right, next up, this is something that I know I've been alluding to and wanted to give you for a couple weeks, and that is my tick bite protocol. So unfortunately, about 6 weeks ago is the kind of the beginning of the season, me going up to Maine. I love Maine, one of my favorite places in the world, maybe my favorite place in the world. And I'm not up there. It's the beginning of the season. It's still cold. And I got bit by a tick. I'm taking a shower the next morning and I see the tick embedded in my shin, actually about 3 inches up from my ankle. I just thought it was some dried blood. I got a cut, or, whatever. I'm active in Maine and kind of running around and all that different type of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, it's a scratch. And then I realized right away it was a tick. When you get something serious, it doesn't necessarily go out the window, but when it's you kind of overreact because like, oh no, I get bit by a tick, but I know all of the repercussions that could happen from getting bit by a tick. I could get Lyme disease. And if I get Lyme disease, what does that mean? And like these thoughts start swirling through your head. I take a deep breath. I try to relax my body and I say, okay, it's just time to go to work. Time to go to work. That's it. So I remove the tick, head comes out, everything comes out. The head's no longer in the body. Good. Okay. The next thing that I do is it's a holiday weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. Very few places are open, and I didn't bring all of the nutritional supplements I would need for a tick bite. I wasn't even using the daily tick and mosquito-based spray that I typically do during the summer and that I use with my dog and I use, with my daughters, my whole family. And I don't use the rose geranium essential oil, which I always use. And again, I've never been bitten by a tick. I've had ticks crawling me before. And I, just kind of swat them off. And that's because, again, I have a dog too, and he likes to bring some in. But starting last summer, we started using rose geranium oil and have had no ticks at all. It's pretty incredible. And a lot of people shared the same experience. But anyway, I wasn't using it. Got the tick bite in my leg. And I say, okay, it's time to go to your protocol. So right away, I went out to my local health food store up in Maine. And they're called New Mornings. Huge support of them. Love mom and pop stores, especially ones like that have been around for like 40 or more years. And it's funny because I always go into that store when I'm up there. Now, keep in mind, I have every nutritional supplement at my disposal. My home in Boston looks like a apothecary for every herb and everything out there. And I have a bunch in Maine as well. But I didn't have these products because these are more in depth. I want to share that with you now. I went out to the store and I got everything that I could. And then 2 days later, I got the rest in my Boston practice. Because if you get bit by a tick, there's a couple things you should do. You don't know if it was carrying the pathogen called Borrelia, okay? You don't know if it was contained in that. There's actually multiple species and multiple strains. Some people refer to it as a bacteria, some people pathogen, some people microbe. Doesn't matter. Does not matter what you refer to it as. But we know it's what can lead to. That's the pathogen that can lead to, or the microbe that can lead to Lyme disease. And Lyme is not actually a thing. It's a name. Remember, it's a name of a disease, collection of symptoms that originated in Connecticut. We don't call it, but it came from Lyme, Connecticut, the first outbreaks, right? So here's the thing, though. What we need to do is boost the immune system. And some people use antibiotics right away. That's your choice, but you have to do something. If you get bit by a tick, you can send that tick to the lab. If you save it in a Ziploc bag or a plastic bag, you can save it, and you can mail it to the lab, and they can test to see if it contains the bacteria that causes Lyme. I decided not to do that. One, it was a mental-based decision, okay? I don't necessarily recommend this for you, but I'm big on mindset. And I said to myself, I'm immediately switching gears to destroying this bacteria that has entered my body potentially. And I don't care if the tick was carrying it or not, I'm going to wipe this out of my body, and I had to go right into that mindset. I couldn't wait till lab told me if it contained it or not. And then if it said, it contains the Borrelia bacteria, now that automatically means I'm going to get Lyme disease. It does not. So I purposely got rid of the tick and I went about my protocol, which is what I recommend for a lot of people. Now, again, you can use the antibiotics if you want at that point, but do something right away. I recommend a natural-based protocol for those people worried about their gut or worried about, long-term health issues related to antibiotic use. But I always want to give people the choice. So if you believe the best option for you or your children is antibiotics, I support you. You know that no matter what. For me, I go the natural route. And there's a lot of science behind this. So what I'm going to do is this, because I could do a whole podcast on this, of course. But here's the thing. I use these products, and I want to share it with you, and then I can give you the option to pick those up. I don't believe many of them are by Equilibrium Nutrition, except the first one. So the first one is GI Balance. GI Balance is easily our top 2 strongest antibacterials, antifungals, and antimicrobes out there. There's almost nothing in the world stronger. I'm going to share that with you right now. It does not matter the name. The matters is this. These are edible, consumable essential oils. Thyme, oregano, and clove. Clove is the bonus. But oregano and thyme, they destroy bacteria as well as fungus. Now, the bacteria is not fungus, so you don't have to worry as much about the clove, but it works for bacteria. The other second strongest item, in my opinion, the 2 strongest in the world, citricidal. It comes from a grapefruit seed extract. And that grapefruit seed extract is essentially turned into a natural byproduct that's a pesticide for fungus and bacteria in the body, with a lot of deep clinical research behind it. So I use that as well. I'm calling out the big guns. Why? Because the repercussion is that I have to deal with Lyme disease for 6 to 12 months. And I'm not willing to do that. So I'm calling out the big guns. And I'm going to use it for 3 weeks. That's what I did. Okay. The GI Balance, I did 1 soft gel at each meal. The citricidal, I did 3 drops twice a day. 3 drops upon waking in water, 3 drops before bed. Very bitter, but it works. As I say in Ayurveda, bitter is better. Okay, the next one is this. I used astragalus. I can't go through every single one today. I can do a whole podcast on this if you'd like. But for right now, I'm going to give you the products. Astragalus, amazing for boosting the immune system. Same with andrographis. Amazing for boosting overall immune balance in the immune system as well. Astragalus and andrographis can also be used for longer-term immune-based maintenance. I don't use them that way, but they can. Astragalus, an amazing, amazing herb for long-term immune support. Okay, and then I used something that not a lot of people know about, and I wanted to share that with you. And I used cat's claw. A lot of people are unfamiliar with this amazing herb. So cat's claw is clinically proven to kill the bacteria that causes Lyme disease. And again, most doctors are unfamiliar with this. So I want to bring this out to the world, and I want you to share this with the world as well, especially if you're an integrative health practitioner. Cat's claw contains something called, and they're just again, the herbs in general contain chemical compounds in nature that we don't even know about all of them yet. Well, cat's claw contains something called pentacyclic oxidol alkaloids, POAs. And these help to boost the immune system and actually help with overall Lyme-based disease. And I'm going to link up a clinical study on this. So this was actually published in 2016 in the Journal of Advanced Infectious Disease. So this is clinically studied by conventional medicine as well. And I always want you to know that. I look at everything out there. I try to stay as unbiased as possible. So cat's claw is another one I use. Let me tell you exactly how I use these. Okay. I put all of them, every single one of them, and I made my life for the most part pretty easy. I used a full serving, a dropper of the cat's claw, astragalus, and andrographis, or the capsule powder, 3 times a day for the first week, and then 2 times a day for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to put it all for you today. I'll make it easy for you at stevencabral.com/1239. Okay, that's where all of today's show notes will be. Now, one more thing I have to let you know. These products are not necessarily always available at the brands that I like to the general public. They typically are produced and they're allowed to be used by licensed health practitioners or doctors to give to their patients. Well, here's what I want to do is, if possible, I'm going to open up the portal that allows me to get my private wellness clients nutritional supplements not that we don't make with Equilibrium Nutrition. If I'm able to do that, I'm going to put the directions right at stevencabral.com/1239, and you'll be able to order all of those right from that system, okay? So I'm going to do my best. My team is going to do our best to get that to you. But again, I use GI Balance, Cat's Claw, Citricidal, Astragalus, and Andrographis. And the GI Balance contains the thyme and oregano. Amazing, amazing protocol. I feel fantastic. I felt great while doing it. I felt terrible, though, I have to tell you, days 4, 5, and 6. And I believe that's because as the bacteria was kind of growing in my body, your immune cells are clinically shown to be they're getting boosted over 72 hours. So I believe on day 4, there was a fight inside my body between my immune system and the bacteria. As the bacteria was starting to proliferate, my immune system, along with all the immune-boosting herbs and the essential oils, were there to basically negate and destroy that bacteria. And I'm happy to say that I feel fantastic. I don't promise any cures. That's not what I can do. But I give you exactly what I see work with myself and in my practice, and also based on scientific clinical research. So thank you, everyone, for your patience in allowing me to get this to you. And what can I say? Maybe you want to keep this at hand if you live in the New England area, or if you live in a place that you might be exposed to ticks and those types of things. I do hope that this helps. And the last thing I have to let you know is that I don't actually recommend the GI Balance or the Citricidal for children. It's a bit too strong, and the GI Balance is in the soft gels, the larger soft gels. So what I would do instead is I would do the Biocidin drops. We'll link that up as well. And what I would do is 3 drops for week 1, 4 drops for week 2, and 5 drops for week 3 twice a day. So that's what I would do with the Biocidin instead of the GI Balance and Citricidal, and you can still use the Cat's Claw, Astragalus, and Andrographis. You could even add a little bit of Echinacea if you would like for immune boosting ability, and we recommend a good children's Echinacea as well in the children's immune boosting protocol. So hopefully this has been helpful. I know it's taken a little while to get to you, but I had to think about that, how I wanted to present it to you, and it's also one of the reasons why I do not give you my Lyme, and I'm saying dis-ease-based protocol. And the reason I don't just give that to you is I don't feel that when you've been suffering from Lyme for a while, that you should just kind of go it alone. I really think that you should work with a practitioner. And it doesn't have to be us. Find a local functional medicine practitioner or integrative health practitioner that has worked with people with Lyme dis-ease, and then you'll be able to work with them through boosting your immune system. But I'll tell you right now, most people who have had Lyme, and they've either been on the antibiotics or natural-based protocols, a lot of it has to do with rebuilding the mitochondria, and it no longer has to do with getting rid of the bacteria. Please keep that in mind. Really, really important. And if there's enough interest, I'll do a whole show on Lyme disease if you'd like in the future. Okay, next up is, and I know that I spent a lot of time on that, but I hope it was worthwhile. I want to bring you a product review that I've been using for a while now, and all of the personal trainers and fitness coaches at my body transformation studio in Boston have been using as well. It's a great product called the Plexus Wheel Plus, also referred to as the Go Chirp. Now, I don't even know how they got the name Go Chirp, but I'll tell you right now, they have some of the most hilarious videos on their website. You can see that they don't take themselves too serious, as a company, but the products they have are serious and they really do work. And I wanted to bring one of those to you today. They have many products on their website for relieving back and neck-based tension. And I love all the products that they carry. We actually use pretty much all of them at the studio. And we have been using them for not 20 years, but pretty close to it. And that's because way back in the day, I used to take 2 tennis balls and I used to tape them together with friction tape and roll along the spine. And it's amazing, not on the spine, but the muscles beside the spine, at relieving tension in the back. I mean, you should see the range of motion and mobility and reduction of back pain people get when they do that. And I first learned that from Coach Mike Boyle here in Boston when I was a young personal trainer, 21, 22 years old, and I would go over to Boston University and I would watch him train the Boston University hockey teams, and I was over there with my buddy Keith Colby, and we were kind of learning, right? We were learning from our mentors. And that's why I tell you all the time, you have to have mentors. There's so many great schools out there. You could become a naturopathic doctor and all these things, but people lack the mentorship because most naturopathic doctoral schools and other schools out there, there's no internships. There's no mentorship. They don't actually do things like a certification in real world practice. Like we offer the integrative health practitioner certification. They don't do anything like that to actually see how things work in the real world. And again, I'm not coming down on that. I'm just saying you need both. You need the education from the textbooks, right? Or your certification, but you also need, hey, what are they doing in the real world? What are some real protocols that people are doing? So that's why I always recommend, again, finding a mentor. Maybe the mentor is just case study book. That's fine too. But learn how other people did it, especially, 21, 22 years old. Nobody should be expected to know how to do that much at 21, 22 years old. You need to learn from others, even if you feel like, a lot of us at 21, 22 are like, oh, we got this covered. But anyway, so he taught me how to tape those tennis balls together. They were doing a lot of rehabilitation, prehabilitation. And so that's where I first learned that. Well, what the Plexus wheel has done is actually taken that to the next level. You no longer need to lie backwards over a stability ball where you could lose your balance. It's actually a disc. It's a wheel-based plastic object with a nice cushion over it. I think this is their second or third iteration. And it stretches out your spine and the muscles surrounding your spine in a 4-way direction. That means it stretches them sagittally, which is just when we look at that, we're simply looking at kind of top to bottom, and laterally, which is side to side. And it gives you this amazing stretch without you having to do anything. You literally either place it against a wall and kind of lean into it or lie on it on your back on the floor. And I'm going to link up a video because, of course, me talking about it is not going to do it justice. I'll link that up at stephencabral.com/1239. And I'm also going to link up or embed their hilarious video that they did too, which is kind of funny. And then one thing I'll tell you is this. It is fantastic for opening up and stretching those muscles of your back. I like using it after a workout. So basically, a lot of times we sit all day, so you could use it at the end of your work day, or you do squats with the barbell or weights. And a lot of times the spine gets compressed. That just kind of means the vertebrae get pushed together. Well, using the Plexus wheel allows you to decompress the spine. It's almost like hanging upside down, but easier. And it allows you to open up the vertebrae and improve your overall posture, probably give you a half an inch in your height, and make you relieve all of that back-based tension. So I'll link up their website. Great product. The only thing I don't recommend it for that they did mention is for pregnancy. Typically during pregnancy, you don't want to be lying in the supine position up on whether it be a stability ball or the Plexus wheel, and you don't want to create any intra-abdominal pressure. So I'm just not recommending it for pregnancy because you could also put your head below your heart, which isn't good for blood pressure. So I'm recommending this for pretty much anybody else. And it comes in 3 sizes. The smaller size is amazing for deep tissue. The medium size is what I recommend for most people. It's in between, it's moderate. And the larger wheel is gentler, easier to get on. And again, you're just lying on this, so it's pretty easy and straightforward. You can get all 3 of the wheels, and I think they offer a discount for that. Again, we'll link it all up. They haven't given me any discount codes or anything like that. If they choose to for our community, of course, I'll post that today at stephencabral.com/1239. All right, great product. Check it out. Funny company, and also all the products on their website are pretty fantastic. They actually have that double ball that I was talking about before that you can use in your back. Not as great as my opinion on the Plexus wheel, but great overall. I know I'm going over my limit today. I'm going to save the lab results for next week, but I have to bring you the research because I promised it, so I want to bring it to you. I'm going to do it pretty quick. Here's the thing. I've been talking about this for a number of years. We don't always know. We used to think it was EPOC. I did a show on EPOC. So if you go to stephencabral.com/1210. So stephencabral.com/1210. I talked about EPOC and the ways that you can boost your metabolism after workout. Basically it means you do a workout, it boosts your oxygen consumption and the ability or the challenge it is to bring your body back down to homeostasis. Well, it didn't account for enough to why some workouts could keep burning body fat for up to 36 hours. And we're still looking at all of the reasons why. Well, here's another study that you can add to this. This was actually in the Journal of Molecular Metabolism, and it was done by researchers out of Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. Okay, UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas in molecular metabolism. You can check out this study. And it shows that metabolism influencing brain neurons stayed active for up to 2 days, 48 hours after a single workout. And those changes lasted longer with more training. The neurons are associated with reducing appetite, lowering blood sugar levels, and burning more energy. This means taking a day or two off from exercise does not harm long-term fitness routines as long as the workout before the time off is sufficiently intensive. So what have I been talking about over the past couple of years? Every other day workouts at a minimum. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and ideally a weekend day when you might have that cheat meal that night. That if it's interval resistance based, you are going to get those results. It's so amazing. It really is. We're starting to figure out that there are many factors in the body and the brain that regulate metabolism. We don't have it all figured out, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. And I've been studying exercise now for over 20 years. We don't have it all figured out, but I can tell you this, we know it works. Get in those every other day workouts for brain health and overall body health. You will not be disappointed. I will try to link this up as well. Head on over to StephenCabral.com/1239 for everything that went on today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. If today's show was helpful, please do feel free to pass along to anyone else it could serve. And we'll be back next week with more of those lab results. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll talk with you tomorrow on our Cabral House Calls. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to StephenCabral.com/rainbarrel.